This week's Vaeira is being said L'ili Nishmas Avraham Shalom ben Gavriel Yaakov, who, as you'll see from the coming words, has given us, the world, a better understanding of the ways of Hashem. The pasuk, this week's Parshat in the beginning, tells us something very astounding. It says, Vaeira El Avram, El Yitzchak, El Yaakov. It tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to show to Avram and our father Yitzchak and our father Yaakov. And what does Rashi tell us? Vaeira El Avos. What was the need for the repetition? What haven't we seen from the Torah, from the words of the Psukim, that Rashi feels the need to explain to us? Who was Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? If you haven't known until now, El Avos, those are our fathers. What's the addition? What's Rashi trying to tell us? We know already. There was Abraham, there was Isaac, and there was Jacob. Why discuss? Why does Rashi tell us, by the way, those are our forefathers? You think for a moment, there's an individual gets a job on an assembly line to put together a car. And he gets in there, and he's the one that has to put the steering wheel on the place where it's supposed to belong in a car. And he gets handed the wheel, he puts it on, passes it on, the next part, moves on to the line to the next person. And that's what he's doing all day. And he turns to the person behind him and he says, I don't understand what's going on here. I can't, I feel so guilty. How is it possible I'm going to let this car go out there? And now people are going to be able to drive, but they're not going to be able to control themselves. They're not going to have any brakes. They're just going to keep on driving. There's not going to be able to wait to stop this car. And he says, no, someone's putting on the brakes after that. And he comes back to him a little bit later and he says, I don't understand. How am I going to do this if there's going to be weather? There's not going to be any roof. There's not going to be any glass. There's not going to be any windows. It's going to be terrible for a person to be driving in such inclement conditions. He says, no, through the assembly line, you're just putting on this. You'll see the end of it, there's a finished car. Someone else is putting on the windows. And of course, we're looking at this person, we're thinking about it. Who is so dumb? Who's so small and so doesn't understand that when you're on an assembly line, you're just putting on one piece. And then people after you are finishing what people before you started. For us, when we talk about an assembly line for putting together a car, we can understand that. But yet what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to show us, that that's really the way our job is throughout our lives, throughout the history of the Jewish people. We could have Avram, we could have Yitzchak, and we could have Yaakov. Each one of the Avos put something into this world, and that's how we're able to live the way we are. Maisa, Avos, Siman Labanim. The actions of our forefathers paved the way for their children, for us. And you look at each one of themselves. So sometimes we look at it a little bit like, this was this act, this was that act, we have to do this, we have to do that, but it doesn't add up. How is it possible? What does it really mean? How seemingly insignificant are our actions, a little mitzvah here, a little words of Torah here, another prayer. What does it all mean? So Rashi tells us there's a bigger picture as well. There's an Avram, there's a Yitzchak, there's a Yaakov. There's an Abraham, there's an Isaac, there's a Jacob. Each one has their own midas. Each one has something that they brought into this world. But realize it's all part of a bigger world. Ela Avos, our forefathers. They've set the stage for all of us in an umbrella fashion, in a much bigger picture as well. Each one of us have our own individual mission. But don't lose sight of the bigger picture that we're creating an entire car. When I think about the times when our dear friend of the yeshiva, Gabe Solomon, how we first got to know him, it was through when his father was sick. And we realized the inspiration that we gleaned from him and from his father is tremendous. How many hours, how many thousands of people have gained from the inspiration, from the Divrei Torah, from the kindness shown by the Solomon family. It can be looked at as insignificant at times. What is it? It's just a small video, a small Dvar Torah, so small other acts of kindness. But in the bigger picture, it's not just an Abraham, it's just an Isaac, just an Jacob. It's not just an Avram Shalom, it's not just a Gabe Solomon. It's Eira Avos as part of the bigger picture, and together they're forming this car. Together they are forming a machine. And that's Torah, and that's mitzvahs, that's Maasim Tovim, that's levels of tremendous, genuine kindness that's continuing for generations. When we do small acts, be it of kindness, be it of praying, be it of reaching out and connecting to our Creator, or doing things that we're supposed to be doing, and living an embodiment of a proper Jew, we're doing small acts, but they're really part of a major, major picture. That's what Rashi's telling us. There's Avram, there's Yitzhak, and there's Yaakov. But it's Ela Avos. There's one big picture as well as an umbrella we're all part of. As we go through our small acts, may the neshama, the soul of Avram Shalom ben Gavriel Yaakov, that he have an aliyah, he should be raised up higher in the levels of heaven, which I'm sure he has such a lofty seat as well. And the whole family should be called one of higher stature, constantly connecting and raising himself up to give nachat to God, to our Creator. And as we realize that our small acts are really part of something so much bigger, we'll become bigger ourselves. And what an unbelievable schut that would be for this neshama and for everyone else that we come in contact with. Have a wonderful Shabbos.